Yes, indeed. It's the Vibe Show 97.9. Welcome everybody to the show. Listen, I'm super excited. I'm not gonna lie. I know I always say I'm super excited, but I'm really excited. I have a bucket list guest that's gonna be joining us on the show tonight. So y'all make sure that y'all should have y'all popcorn, your drinks, whatever you like to enjoy. You should have that stuff already together already. Y'all been knowing this was finna happen, and it's happening right now. So y'all make sure y'all keep it locked in. It's the Vibe Show 97.9. Oh. Yep, Vibe Show 97.9. I'm your host, Kano the Don, the Vibe King. We are here with an amazing show lined up for y'all tonight. Listen, when you talk about singing, you have to mention this queen here. Been putting in so much work over the years. I'm talking about superstar R&B singer, songwriter, actress as well. Whereas this queen wears multiple hats. Don't get it twisted. I'm talking about the one and only Truth Hurts. Let's get her in here.
Hey.
Truth. Yes. This is happening. I've been waiting on this, and it is happening right now. I have to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for me and the entire team and all of our fans. We are just so happy and thankful for this opportunity.
Me too. I'm honored.
So listen, now, I got to ask you, where is the fountain of youth at now? I know you know where it is because, you just still look as vibrant as before. Where's the fountain?
Thank you. Water. And the jeans on my daddy's side.
Right. You look so amazing, as always. You've always had, I feel like always had your own unique look. You know what I mean? Always had your own look and kind of was in your own lane, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Has that always kind of been like, because it's so easy to get caught up in what everybody else is doing, when you get into business or whatever, upon coming in the business, did you kind of have a vision on how you wanted to be per se?
I actually didn't. When I first got into the business, I was just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, coming out of St. Louis, Missouri. I just wanted to, get in where I fit in because I love to entertain. I love to write. I really was that little girl from a smaller city that just, had big eyes for entertainment,
Right.
and how I could fit into this world of entertainment. So yeah, I started where I could, which was songwriting. That was my entrance into the game.
Now, transitioning, because you're from St. Louis, right?
Yes.
Big stomping grounds. Lot of big wigs come from that soil. Any influences though, because has it always been music and singing for you? Was it anything else that you may have been had your eyes set on before music came into play, or like
Yeah.
what was it?
It was theater.
It was
It was
the
theater. Yeah, I was classically trained, sang opera coming up, and you know, one of the people I had my eyes on back then was Kathleen Battle, a very
ah
great opera singer. And then, speaking of St. Louis, somebody who came out of St. Louis that, is very huge for me, a big idol for me, was Tina Turner.
mm,
Um, Her story and everything about her was just magical to me coming up. And, I still look at her to this day, like, whew, her journey feels so much like mine sometimes, except, she went on to do certain accolades that I haven't. But I look at her and her grind all through Europe, and just where she comes from, man, it feels so similar sometimes. So for me, yeah, initially it was theater. It was, and that's why people are surprised when they see me acting. They're like, "Oh, you can act." Theater was my first love.
and it's funny you say that, because that makes sense, because it just seems so effortless for you, with seeing you on screen.
Thank
And it was crazy, because just the other day, and I was gonna DM you this too, but I was like, man, I don't want to sound crazy, man. But when I because The Wash is one of my cult classics. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
And
not
do
gonna lie.
you know that watching it again, I'm like, that is truth.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, it was, and I was like, I don't want to sound crazy. I'm not texting her this. It's so crazy, because I'm like,
Yes,
all of this time I'm tripping out on this movie and watching this movie over and over again, loving this movie.
yeah.
You were in this movie, played a great role in the movie. Talk to me about how that opportunity came about.
Man, Dre made me audition like everybody else. When they first started talking about doing the movie, I was recording my album at the time, and he came to me and told me that they were doing it, and he initially was like, and then it was like, okay, they have a role that they think you might be good at, but you got to audition. You got to go to the audition where all of the ladies are auditioning as well. It's going to be like 10 to 12 people, and you got to go in there and knock it out the box. And I was like, okay, I could do that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I think it surprised him as well, because, I auditioned for the director, which is a good friend of his, DJ Pooh. And he was like, oh, wow, okay, she can act.
Right.
And it was funny because once I actually did the role, I got the role and did the role, all of my aunties in St. Louis was hitting me like, you definitely aced that, because that's not how you speak. There's
Right,
not a real hood bone in your body.
right,
How did you play that role? Like, that wasn't even you coming up. So
right.
I really studied for it. I read the script, I studied for it, and I went in there and I knocked it out. So I feel like I got that on my own, not with Dr. Dre's help.
You absolutely knocked it out. You did your thing. My thing is, like, with so many, and because it was a lot of heavy hitters in that movie as
Yeah.
well. What
Yeah.
was the set like though? Like, just being around me, DJ Pooh, Snoop, Dre, all of these different people. It's so many different people in there. What was the set like?
Constant comedy. Constant comedy, laughing all day long. I mean, to tell you, it is, man, it was an honor, just kind of soaking up the energy of other entertainers and great people. Snoop, working with Snoop, playing his girlfriend. I was very shy, actually. I was
Really?
Yes, I was very shy because we had, the sex scene, and I had never done a sex scene before.
Right,
And to do it with him, somebody who's so silly, it was crazy. But it was so much fun because it was so much laughter. Like,
right.
everybody was hilarious. Really.
Wow. Now, 2000, speaking of Dre, you signed with Aftermath Entertainment.
Mm.
That right there was, and I knew, like, when you hit the scene, it was explosive. Talk to me about that opportunity, and how did that come about? Because doing my research, you didn't really want to kind of be in the front like that, because at that point you was writing and doing a whole bunch of work for a lot of people behind the scenes, and you kind of was comfortable there.
Yeah.
What kind of made you want to kind of step out into that front light, though?
I really didn't want to. I kind of got persuaded, but at the time, I was really taking a much more serious approach to my career life, and I was even considering quitting the music game altogether when Dre called me.
Really?
Yeah, when I initially started with Dre, I was a songwriter for the company, so I was writing a lot of the songs for artists that were signed to him. It was Dawn Robinson, Eve. There were a few other females. There was a group, and my whole history in the business at that point had been songwriting and being placed into groups or being in groups, and my experience wasn't good with the whole group situation. I was like,
Right. Now,
you know,
why would you say that? Well, I really don't want to just skip past it. Can we get on that part? Because when I bring people on, I always ask that question because it just seems like a pattern with groups.
it
Like,
is.
from your professional experience though, like why do you think the groups don't really sustain? They have a good run, but somewhere along the line, it always just breaks up.
Well, because there is no I in group, and most performers and entertainers have some sort of divaism
Right.
that carries into the fold of the group, and
Right.
everybody can't be the diva. Everybody can't be that girl, and especially with women, it's difficult to mesh those personalities and attitudes, and
Right.
you know what it is. You know what it is
Absolutely.
being a woman and being paired with other women. Just there you go. That's all she wrote.
You
That
know, it's do you think that, being in the game for so long, seeing so much experience and so much, do you think that it's almost by design? Because to me, you know, I would think that, and I never understood this, and I always ask this question and I get different answers, and I would like to just see what you would say. Do you think that it's kind of in a way forbidden, in a way, for women to just work together like that and go on tour together like that? It just seems, why can't that happen? It would be so colossal for
yeah.
the fans as well.
um I don't know if it's forbidden. I think when you have an understanding and you have a team that knows how to work together, and you have people who are humble, like I can see it working again with Beyonce and Kelly and
Mhm.
Michelle,
You
because you
can.
have two young ladies behind Beyonce that are willing to be humble enough to make it work. They know Beyonce is the queen of the group,
Mhm.
and yeah, they just have kind of settled into that. When you don't have that understanding and you don't have that kind of team that you're working with, then those lines get blurred, and
Mhm.
everybody wants to be the star, everybody wants to be up front, everybody wants to be you know all hail to the queen, the diva.
Right.
So that can turn into a mess, and it usually does.
It messes up the bag. Don't mess my damn money
Yeah,
up.
it
You know
messes
what
up the
I'm saying?
bag.
I will just
I
play
mean,
my role.
look at In Vogue. They've interchanged group members so many times
Yeah.
because they've had those issues.
I
So
really hate that too, because I brought Dawn on. I'm really cool with her, and it was a amazing interview. And I didn't think she was gonna break it down like that, but she broke it down,
mhm.
and she kind of exposed a few things that was interesting though. When it comes down to money in the
Yeah,
business,
that too. Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know that played can play a major role in people going their separate ways as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Contracts and stuff.
Contracts, money, how they get paid, how much each person gets paid, especially if you have a group of four. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine. I
Right.
can't even imagine. I was only in a group of two. So I can imagine, how all of that works out in the end. Like who's getting paid what, why are you getting more than me?
Right.
Then you got the factor of it's always one of them that's sleeping with somebody that's managing the whole group.
That's,
There's always
that's a
something.
problem right
Yeah,
there. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because favoritism is going to trickle in. You know that already.
right.
It's just it's
Sad,
crazy.
sad but true.
Now, meeting Drake, like you said, you were already working on the label, doing a lot of work for a lot of artists that was already on the label, already behind the scenes, writing hit songs and all of these things or whatever. Now let's back up a little bit. How did you end up meeting Dre? I know I'm all over the place.
I met Trey back when I was still in the group that I was in. I think Suge and Dap. Yeah, that was back in, oh my gosh, that was so long ago, at 93. Um, and I started, well, I was already writing. I was actually writing in the Diddy camp back then, ironically. I was in New York.
Really?
Yeah, I was writing with Mario Winans.
That's a goat. I'm talking to a
Yeah.
goat right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So,
Let's be
yeah,
clear
I
here
told you
now.
I was getting in where I fit in. I was taking my pen where I could take it. So I was, I was
Right.
just getting into different studios and writing with different people. And sometimes the relationship stuck. And the one with Mario Winans did. We had really, really good synergy writing together.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always writing with him. And at that time, I had submitted some songs over to Aftermath. And that at that time, he had a young lady named Kim Summerson, who was supposed to be the first lady of Aftermath. She could really sing. She was from New York, very, very good vocals, like extreme vocalists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Straight out the church. And I had sent some songs over, and one of the songs was called "Turn Me Out," and it was really it was an R&B smash. And Dre heard that song and he lost it. He was like,
Wow.
"Who wrote this?"
Right.
He was like,
Right.
"Who wrote it?" And when they contacted me, they were like, they wanted me to send, not only send the songs, they wanted me to fly out and work with the artists.
Really?
Yeah, and so I did. I came back to Cali because at the time I had been living in New York. I want to say for a year or two, because I had gotten tired of LA at one point. So I was like, let me go over to the East Coast and try my luck over there. Plus,
Right.
I was actually married to a producer at the time. That was a
Mm.
pretty big producer in the game at the time. So
Okay.
I was just writing, writing, writing. And when he said, come over with the song and come write for Kim Summerson, I did. And that was all she wrote. After that, I ended up bonding with Dre and the crew, the production family. So many producers he had, and I was just writing with everybody. And
Right.
from there, he was like, "Yes, stay out here." I felt like I was kind of staffed to Aftermath as a writer at the time.
Right. That experience for you though, from a mental place, being young,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
leaving St. Louis, going
Mm,
back and forth to what was that transition like for you with going to LA? Because you gotta think at that time period in era, it was popping.
yeah,
A lot going on.
it was.
The business was a little different then as well. Talk to me about the mental aspect of it for you with making the transition and I
Right.
mean, hell, being with Aftermath, Dre. I mean, like, that's a big deal.
Well, all of it happened really quickly, but it wasn't straight to Dre. That's the thing. So when I came out of St. Louis, I initially came out of St. Louis because my parents moved to San Jose, California. My
Okay.
father had just gotten out of prison and he wanted a fresh start. And he was like, let's take the family over here. And ironically, I had a scholarship to go to University of Chicago at the time for the opera, for
Mm,
classical music. And I ended up not taking it because I felt like I'll be close to LA. I got to get to LA,
right.
So I
Right.
ended up going to San Jose, California with the family. And that was where I met the girl that I would become a group member to. And her name was Dap, Valerie Webb, Dap.
Okay.
So that was when the group mayhem started, when I was very young. That was the first thing. I was in college at San Jose State, and we met on either that campus or it was another campus. I went to a couple of colleges back then. I was just, doing what my parents told me to do.
Right.
Go to school.
That's right. No options. We
Right.
didn't have a hell of an option, you know.
Exactly. But I still ended up in music anyway. I ended up meeting somebody on the campus that loved music the way I love music. And we ended up becoming a group and moving to LA.
Right.
So once we moved to LA, we got signed to Giant Records. We did a lot of hard work to get signed to Giant Records, but we were performing in people's offices. Like we were performing on any type of open mic situation. We were hustling.
Right.
But it was a two-girl group, rapper and singer. And man, we finally got some attention from Giant Records, Cassandra Mills. And that was my start in the industry that would lead me to meet, all of the other people I wrote with, and ended up with Dre after that.
Wow, that's amazing. So now Dre convinces you to step in the light. You know,
Mm, yes.
he- now you step in the light, and he actually wants to actually put together, work on a solo project for you.
Right.
Thank God Dre did that. I mean, his
Yeah.
ears are just, he saw the vision,
Mhm.
and he, heard the vocals and knew how talented you was. Um, Doing a solo project though, it's just you, your ideas, your vision, your thoughts. Being in a group, going from that to
Yeah.
doing my own thing.
Yeah.
What was that thought process like? Were you super excited, or were you like,
I was excited, but I was scared. But I trusted him, because I said to myself, if he sees this in me, who am I to not see it in myself?
right, we're
And
going here.
yeah, so I said we got to do this. He said let's try it. And if we don't like what we hear, it never has to leave the studio. And I'm
Right,
like, okay, that's a bet. And
right,
so we just started doing song after song after song, and writing and writing and writing and writing. And the chemistry was so great. I swear it was like a dream come true, because for me, when the perfect pen meets the perfect music, or the perfect situation to really express yourself, there's nothing like that in the world. And I had to say, I hadn't found that since then. It's not ever been the same.
right.
It's been close, but it hasn't been the same. So for me, like I said, it was a dream come true. And so I was writing a mound of songs, like over 100 songs got written for one album.
Really?
Yes, over 100 songs. That's how hard we were working. I was, on tour with them when they did the Up in Smoke. So I was writing.
Wait, True. Wait a minute now.
Yeah.
You were on the Up in Smoke
Yeah,
tour.
I was the
We're
only
talking
singer
about
on the Up in Smoke tour.
giant all-star list.
Yeah. I was on Up in Smoke tour. I was the only singer. I'm singing the part where I come down before they come out in the lowrider. Let me ride.
Wow, man. I
So in between tour shows, I was on the tour bus that was a studio bus, and I was writing daily. So 100 songs. 100
wow.
songs came out. Yeah.
What were your parents like? I mean, like what how were they feeling? Because of course, they wanted the education part of it for you. Um, how did they receive it though? Like when they actually started really seeing it manifest, and you really doing your thing, not just saying, "Oh, I want to be a singer." No,
Yeah.
you're doing it.
They were excited for me. They were also skeptical.
Hmm.
Um, my father comes from a background of jazz. My dad played the upright bass when he was young, and he also was a promoter in St. Louis, where he brought different acts, more jazz affiliated type acts,
Right.
like Phyllis Hyman.
Wow.
Yes, Peebo Bryson. He brought the Pointer Sisters at one time.
What?
Yeah. So, my dad he's got a music mind, and he's an engineer by trade. He engineers, he mixes for jazz artists.
Okay.
So for him, he was like, are you doing the right kind of music? He was more concerned
Mm,
about what I was writing with Dr. Dre. Like, can Dr. Dre bring out of you what, I know your background is, what I know you're capable of.
right.
But they were excited for me to have an opportunity, of course, as any parent would be. But they were concerned. They were a little skeptical,
Right.
rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know what I mean? Wow. So, you're really a bloodline when it comes down to music. It's in your family tree already.
It is. Do you remember a singer named Billy Lawrence?
Yes.
That's my cousin.
Oh my God. That's what I'm saying, truth. Like, so that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes. That's my cousin.
Wow.
Mhm.
The ability to write, though, it's one thing to have vocals and be able to sing, but
Right.
you're also a writer as
Mhm.
well. That ability and that skill set really kind of makes you a double threat. Um,
You. Thank you.
Discovering that ability, though, because being able to sing is good, got good vocals, but being able to write hit songs, though,
Right.
when did you really realize that you really had that skill set? Was it when you sent the song over to Dre and it was stamped like that, or because you were already doing different things or whatever? But when did you really realize that you really had that sharp pen like that?
When I did the remix of The Watcher, and it went from Dr. Dre, whose song it originally was, to Eminem called and said he wanted it, and he
Mhm.
wanted me to come and redo the vocal at his house. And I did do the vocal at Eminem's house, and he was just totally intrigued with my vocals the entire time
Wait,
and
wait,
the way
wait,
that I wrote.
wait, wait, truth. Hold on. Take me slow now. Take me slow. You're taking me
I'm not
slow.
finished. I'm not finished. And then after I left Eminem's and the song was done, and I'm thinking Eminem is going to put it out. He didn't put it out. Here comes Jay-Z. He picks up the song as is. Who's that singing, Dre? Oh, I want this on my album. That's when I knew. I said, okay, I might be a little cute with my pen. I might be a little cute.
Relax with it, relax. Man. So, Eminem. It's
Yeah.
not like, we can't run past these names. Been, I'm just that's why I said take me slow now. I mean, I know I'm dealing with it. I got a goat on the show right now,
Oh,
whether they
thank
realize it or not. You know
you.
what I'm saying? How many people can say
Yeah,
what was that experience like, working because
man.
he's the GOAT as well.
Yeah,
What was that experience like, for you?
iconic. Iconic. I can't explain it no other way because I was in the man's house singing, okay, in his studio, the house. And he was just everything I was singing, he was just enthralled. He
Wow.
was really, really happy with what I was doing. So yeah, it felt good. And because I looked at him like, wow.
Right. You know what I'm saying? We talking about him. You know what I'm
Yeah. So
saying?
I'm like, this is Eminem. I was just like,
Wow.
wow. And for him to call Dre and say, yeah, can you just have her come out, have Interscope send her out to Detroit, come through, and we're gonna get the vocals done again. I was like, oh, I said, I'm so honored. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it. I was pinching myself. It was
Wow.
amazing. Amazing.
Did now going along on this journey, truth, your
Mhm.
life is changing. You are not just dreaming anymore, you're living the dream.
Mm.
So does that change, like, because you are building your celebrity at this point,
Mm.
you're stamping your name.
Right.
um does that change, how much of a change in your personal life, because as you're growing and your brand and name is getting out there in the business, you got to move different too. That's a mindset thing too, because you know how it is,
Yeah.
when you go from some 0 to 60, and then you, like you said,
Yeah.
you like, oh, Dre, Eminem, Jay, all
Yeah.
these different people. I'm, at these people houses and all of that.
Mm.
The mindset
Mhm.
with, I'm not just, it's not normal anymore. Talk
Right.
to me about that for you. What was that, a difficult transition for you? Not being able to really kind of move around. Hey, I'm going to the mall today, or I'm going, from the, you know what I mean?
It's funny you said that because it's Snoop's story that sticks out for me more than mine. when he said he first tried to go to the mall when he blew up, and they started running after, they started chasing him.
Right.
And he was
Right.
running, and when he told the story, like we were on tour, when he told the story, I was just like, yo, that's crazy. I was like, I wonder if that's gonna happen to me.
Right.
But the way he told the story, he was just like, it changed that fast. It flipped overnight. Like the
Hmm.
journey wasn't overnight, but that happened overnight when the
Right.
name sticks, and everybody is looking at it like, that's Snoop, and he at
Right.
the mall.
Right.
And he said they started taking off running, and he was like, should I run?
Right.
He
Right.
said
Right.
they
Right.
started running. I was like, yo, that's the craziest story I've ever heard, that of someone saying that transition between, okay, being an everyday person that can go to the store, to the person that can no longer go to the store
Hmm.
without being attacked or whatever. So it was a little bit smoother transition for me, of course. But for me, I think I'm so humble sometimes that I get in my own way.
Mm.
I say that to say I never really got into the whole Hollywood, I'm this, I'm that, I'm so and so,
Hmm.
worship
Hmm.
me and do as I say. And,
Right.
I've never gotten into that stature, because I'm a woman first, I'm a woman of God first, and I'm a mother second,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, now I have 3 kids. And when I was doing the albums and the writing, I had 1 kid,
Right.
and she was my priority. Like, all I thought about was her. And so for me, I think being that type of human, coming from St. Louis, your stock is different. What you're made of is different.
Hmm.
And so I never really fit in when it came to stuff like that. When it came to being arrogant, or, acting like I was a bigger star than I was, and
Hmm.
which some people do so naturally when they come to Hollywood.
Right.
That's never really been me. I've always been humble about it. So I hear people say all the time when they're talking to me, even back then when Addictive came out, they're like, "You're so easy to talk to." Like I expected something so different,
Hmm.
and I've always been that way, and I'm still that way.
I got a confession, truth. You're really warming my heart right now. Um, I got a confession. Now, I'm just saying, I got to be real. I always have admired you on so many levels. I always thought that you were absolutely gorgeous. I always thought that you were super multi-talented, you know, but actually doing this interview and watching countless interviews that you have done or whatever allowed me to get a chance to really separate you from the actor that I see on the screen, because you always did have like a serious persona to me. Like I'm like, well, maybe like a unapproachable, like try to hide.
Really?
Yeah, it always just been this serious. Like you always had like a serious persona to me. You know what I mean? And
I
and
think it was the album cover. Was it the album cover?
the album cover,
That was Dre's
it
fault.
didn't help. It didn't help the character on the watch. It didn't help that. That
That
stepped.
was Dre.
I'm like, yeah, I'm admired from a distance. I'm like,
Ooh, yeah,
yeah.
I look great on that
And
cover.
you're totally, totally different.
I
Totally
definitely
different.
am.
Very humble. And it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people do get caught up in the lights. And I was going to
Mhm.
ask you that question. How did you remember? Because you've always been this way. Even with all of the accolades that you've been able to accomplish and still accomplishing, to this day, you're still relevant. And I just thought that that's so dope. But a lot of people kind of fall off of the tracks a little bit and
Mhm.
kind of lose their way, especially
Definitely.
with so much light being on them. And
Yeah,
you
definitely.
had the lights on you heavy, but
Yeah.
yet you always maintain, like you said. Was that always in the forefront? Were you able to be strong enough with everything that you were raised on to
Yes.
be able to steer away from certain things that, when you in the light like that, things are given to you,
Yeah.
all different types of
Absolutely.
things or whatever. Talk to me about that, though, being able to maintain and stay out of the way.
You know, I, I stand on the fact that it's where I've come from and the people I've come from, because I was very dear and close friends to Kimora Lee when we were teenagers. We were best friends. And I saw her leave St. Louis and do something totally different than me.
Right.
Yeah. And act totally different than me.
Right.
Leave her past behind and say, I'm not from there. I'm someone else.
Absolutely.
Whereas that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't be friends now because that's not who I am.
Right.
My thing is I feel like it's not only coming from St. Louis, Missouri, it's who I come from, the people I come from, the people that I know, respect dearly and look up to, like my TT, the realest woman I know on this earth. Let me tell you, I always think about what she would think of me and how I'm acting. Because she's filled me up with so much womanhood that I could never face her if I go out here and I act a way that I wasn't raised to be.
Right.
Or if I turn my back on who I am, and who I was girded up to be. So for me, that's important. It's important that I give that back to my children.
Right.
That's the stock I come from.
Right.
And I can't turn my back on that. I can't ignore that. So before I am a singer, songwriter, artist, superstar, whatever, I am that woman. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. I think a lot of people, they get so caught up in this life that they forget that.
Right.
And when the curtain closes, what do you do? When the music stops, what do you do?
Exactly.
And that's the things that I think about at the end of the day. And like I said, those things may get in my way a little bit, but I'm happy with it because I know what I have. I know who I am at the end of the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's that's important. That's important to me, because like I said, it's always like to know, the thought process, because you can't really base everything off of what you see in the tabloids, what you see in the magazine, the media, all of this. Like, we're dealing with real people here.
Right.
Let's take the celebrity off. We're talking about real people. And, some people get so caught up, in the life that they have to live up to the standards of what, people want you to live up to the point that you kind of lose yourself in the business.
And I never wanted to. I never wanted to lose myself. It's funny. People swear they know you. When they're writing on Instagram or when they see these made up YouTubes or whatever, they swear they know your whole story, and I just laugh because they don't even know the half. Right. They're assuming based off of what they've been told or what they've read, and it's literally a quarter of the story, and you know nothing. Right. You know nothing.
I feel like too, when you drop Truthfully Speaks 202, I feel like with, with the lawsuit and all of that, it was to me, it was multiple things that kind of got in the way from it actually going where it was going. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How did that impact you and affect you? Because the anticipation for the album and what we heard when it came out was massive. Mm-hmm. It was almost a sure shot of what it was going to do. I mean, you have the big co-signs and everything. Mm-hmm. And then here comes the lawsuit with the sample. Did that how did that impact you, like with, such anticipation on, this album that you've worked on for so long, countless songs, putting it all together, the process, and then this happens?
Well, at first I was scared about it. But eventually I feel like I came to realize that it wasn't God's will.
That's deep.
Simple as that.
That's deep.
Simple as that. And that's been my entire life story. If it's not God's will, it gets cut at the root. It gets cut immediately. And so that's why I laugh when I hear people's side of the story, when they say, "Oh, she got the pantsuit off her. Oh, Dre left it for dead. Oh," no, sir, no, ma'am. I ran for my life. How about that part?
Right.
And I left for good reason. I felt like, okay, if God is saying this is cut at the root, then I got to go my way, and I got to figure out, where I belong in this game, what I need to be doing, because this is obviously not it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So it was
That's big. That's big to say, because a lot of people can't make that decision, because it's like, when you know how the industry is, how this business is, man. They turn you on, they can turn you off, and a lot of people can't they can't survive being outside of the light. Do you think, because, and you mentioned God, and your foundation, stand the root, like you
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
that's what kept you going, because it can be a lot, when you reach levels of success, and
Yeah,
then, you know
absolutely.
that kind of gets turned off, the light gets dim or whatever. A lot of people go into depression behind stuff like that,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know
for real though. For real though. No, a lot of people can't do that. You know, Nobody in the history of all men could walk away from a deal at Interscope, and I was able to do so. I was able to walk away, but they did turn off the lights. They did,
Mhm.
because I walked away, and it was so much money owed behind it. Um, they made it so I couldn't get a deal anywhere else. So
And I
that
was
was how I
gonna ask
ended up
you
going
that too,
independent.
because
Mhm.
like I said, I'm a fan. I mean, let's just be clear.
Thank
I was, upset about that,
you.
because, me being in the game that I'm in, and like I said, really just, watching you blossom and grow, from the seeds that was planted, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden it's gone.
Right.
I was bothered about that. I'm like, what's going on? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, where's truth?
right.
And nothing's popping, nothing's happening, no opportunity. Like, a person with vocals and the talent that you have should get work anywhere, hands down.
Thank you. Thank you. You're right. You're right.
The blackball stuff do exist.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. They make phone calls all day. And I won't say Dre did. I'm talking more about the upper powers that be
Facts.
in a scope.
Right.
Because Dre was actually the one that allowed me to walk away from the deal.
Mm,
He said yes. And most people are not going to say yes to that.
right.
So he was like, if you don't want to be here, I understand. But the part that he didn't speak was, the part that said, okay, these people probably gonna try to really cut the cord on your whole career,
Right.
but I'm letting you walk away if that's what you want to do.
Shout out to Dre, man, for,
Mhm.
what I'm saying,
Mhm.
doing that. Now, moving on, after that, what was the next move for you? Like, you
Independence.
independence.
Mhm.
Independence was transitioning from, the label, and having the machine behind you. I know that was a mental transition for you too, with,
Yeah.
of course, you learned a lot in the business, and know how to make different moves, you know what I mean, in the
Mhm.
game now, with sponging up so much game, being around so many people, but
Right.
doing it on your own is another giant step on its
Yes.
own as well. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I mean, it wasn't completely on my own. I did it with Raphael Sadiq. So he kind of showed me the reins of, doing the independent world, and I respect that much more. That grind is harder, but I respect it much more.
Right.
Um, Being an independent artist is a lot more work, a whole lot more work. But I will say, in this century, at this time, it's a great time to be independent. Um, Back then, it wasn't an easy grind, but right now, it is. And I would tell any artist that right now, trying to come out the gate, be independent, be as independent as you can, and hold on to your masters. Yeah, because there's nothing like you just. It's your work. It's you. It's your likeness. It's your work. It's who you are. Why should someone else own that?
Right.
This is not the slave trade.
Right.
Why should anyone else own that
Right.
and do minimal work? Created her own grind, her own journey. and then somebody comes and they take the reins, but she owns her masters.
Mm.
you know so really, it's a blessing nowadays. You can paint the picture the way you want to paint the picture if you become successful on social network and you use your audience to become who you want to be. And
Right.
then you can instruct these companies how you want to paint the picture, and they have to follow what you want to do if you're successful already. So
Right, right. Let me ask you this though. It's funny that we're speaking on masters right now. I'm enjoying this conversation because you've always been real like this. Now I heard in the wind about a lot of people selling their masters.
mhm,
They're saying I heard something about masters are becoming in this time period, this time
mhm,
realm that we're
yeah,
in now, that masters are becoming less valuable. It's better to sell your masters to try to get what you get. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. This is not factual information. I don't know,
yeah.
but I'm asking somebody on the other side who's been in the business, who's in the business. Maybe you might have heard something. I don't know.
Well, royalties and copyrights are just as valuable as stocks and bonds and real estate.
Right.
You've got people who passed away without passing down their legacy to someone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's very, very many snakes out there that take over copyrights, that take over publishing, that take over people's whole estate, and they can live for the rest of their lives
Mm.
off of that. It's lucrative.
We've
It's
seen that
lucrative.
happen.
It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. So, owning your stuff, it's just like owning a house.
Right.
If it was popular back then or came out and it was really big, it's like owning something or having a stake in something that is very valuable. And the more time goes by, the more valuable it is.
Right.
So that's why people go get stocks.
Right.
That's why people go get Bitcoin or whatever the hell it is they out here.
I'm lost. I can't keep up with it. True.
It's so much. It's so much.
They
But
got
gold and
That's
mining
what I'm
and all
saying.
this stuff. It's the same thing with publishing and copyright. Okay,
Right.
because after you leave this earth, that copyright is still going, still going, still going, still going. Who's collecting?
Mm.
Who's collecting? I've been able to live off of my royalties. I can save. I can live off of them. My royalties. They've had my back.
Right.
When people thought they were cutting me off at the root, my
Mm.
royalties have my back, and of course my acting and the other things that I've done. But it's a big game and it's a dirty game. So people who are talking about they're selling their masters, they may need the money like that, and I don't advise that you do that. But they must need the money.
Right. Right.
It's really a lucrative game. Like, you have to ask yourself, who owns Michael Jackson's copyrights? Prince.
The damn show ain't the family. That's for sure. Who own Nipsey Hussle stuff? We just don't know.
You have to ask yourself that, okay? And that's why people think there's somebody off them, because that at that point, then you more valuable gone
Yeah,
than alive. Yeah. So, and that's just to let you know or give you some insight on how big that game is and how big that money is.
Damn, though, it's I mean it's like you build up. You're the top. You sell so many records. You make so much money off movies and all of this stuff or whatever, and then you just out the blue you out of here.
Yeah, right. And what do? Where does that money go? That money's still coming. Yeah.
Still coming.
If you don't assign it appropriately, that's why I've started doing that with my children already, because I don't play that. I'm like, I see too much craziness happening to people. So I've designated mine. But, a lot of people don't.
Right.
And then it's just sitting there and somebody can come and get it. Somebody can come get it.
Truth, are you as passionate about the music business as you are with acting? Because you've been in countless films. I mean, we talking Ali, 211. You know, it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. You know, TV appearances. You know, you've been working. You got movies on Netflix right now. You know, I mean that chick's coming in as well. You know what I'm saying? So like, are you? But you know, I just want to know, being in the game for so long, um, are you still as driven though with the
Music.
music?
I have to be honest. Um, I'm always passionate about being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Performance is more my passion. Um, Writing, um, my writing was stifled for a while. My
Mm-hmm.
writing was stifled for a while because of some personal things that was going on in my life. But when those clouds began to clear, my pen my pen picked back up in an amazing way, which is
Mm-hmm.
how I wrote this new Sheepy. Um, some things had to happen. Some things had to break loose before I could like get so much passion about my pen again. But I have to say that being a part of the filmmaking process has been a heavy passion for me lately.
Mm.
Filmmaking and television. My eyes are like, it's like you always get back to where you started.
Right.
And with theater and classical music and all the stuff that I was doing when I was a very little girl, it seems like I'm getting back to that.
Mm.
So the more that things happen to you in life, or life hits you, it breaks you down, if you're strong enough to get back up, you just eventually get back to yourself. And I feel like that's what's happening more than anything. I still love to write. I still love to sing. Um, there's no feeling like being on stage singing for an audience for me.
Right.
But the filmmaking recently, and you know, the auditioning process has been crap. But because I'm such an actor and I'm so real that it's hard for me to audition.
Right. Right.
I just turn on when I get on set, or when I get on stage, I turn on. But when I'm trying to pretend to do something, it's hard for me.
Now, you
So,
know, that's the first time I heard somebody kind of break it down like that.
mhm.
That's interesting though.
Yeah,
That's
this self tape mania that they're doing since the pandemic, that drives me nuts. I'm like, I'm not the camera person. I'm not the, I don't
right.
have this skill. But the way that they're doing it now is like the way you have to tape yourself and you have to then create the whole scene. Like you are the person that's doing the film, or the TV show. It's man, for me it's disheartening because it's not my thing. It's not real. It doesn't feel real. Yeah. You just got the light, you got the ring light, you got the camera, the phone or whatever, you got all the lights set up, the background set up. And then by the time I get all that set up, I'm exhausted. I'm like,
You
I'm like, this is bullshit.
know what I'm saying? You done lost the whole little thing. You was, you know,
Yes.
yeah. It's a
Yes.
lot. It's a
Yes.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
So I'm just waiting to get to that point in my acting career where they just call me and say, we want you for this film. Yeah.
Right.
You got to get on, that J-Lo level before they start
Right.
they
Right.
start telling you just come in. But they call me out a lot. They call me out. They want to see me do certain roles. So they'll contact my agent and be like, we want her to read for this. We want to see what she looks like doing this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to just present this whole false thing, and it's hard for me. But when I'm on set, I'm on.
You
I'm
ready to go?
in it. Yes.
Right. Look, you know, as we're wrapping up, I gotta ask you this too. Do with everything, you know, the journey has been long. You've been
Yeah.
through a lot. You've
Yeah.
accomplished a lot.
Mm.
You learned a lot about people, and people you might have thought that was, you know, riding for you. They ain't riding, but they ain't in the car no more, and all of this stuff. Like a lot of changes and transitions and all of
Yeah.
these different things or whatever that shaped you, you know, into the queen that you are today, you know, with your thinking process. You know, if you could change one thing about the business, whether it be via the film business or the music business, you know, what was that one thing with all of that knowledge that and experience that you've went through? one thing that you would say, if I had the power to change this, this is what I would change in the business to make it better.
I would change the music business, and I would say, can we just get back to art,
Mm,
true art, and authenticity, and genuine articles,
mm,
and because I don't know if you noticed, but I'm sure you noticed that you got a black female artist. Uh, it's all erotica. It's all erotic. It's strip poles. It's twerking. It's nakedness, and it's like almost every artist. It ain't just a couple of them, is it? I'm like, and being a black woman uh,
mm.
who writes, who sings, who performs, who acts, I say we doing, our ancestors a gross injustice. Josephine Baker, what they fought for, going out of this country and really performing. She even did a little slight nudity, but it was still classy. It was
Right,
still artful. So
right.
I'm not saying I'm not throwing a dagger at anybody or judging anybody by saying, okay, the nakedness is all bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, can we get back to art? And take some of the eroticism and the sexuality out of it, because we as black women, that's not all we're worth.
Mm,
We're worth
mm.
so much more. We have big spirits.
Right.
And so we're capable of so much more. And the more that we do that is the more that we show them that that's how they can use us.
Hmm.
So I would change that immediately. I would demand that immediately, because that, like I said, is a gross injustice to the black woman,
Right.
the amazing black woman.
I would have said that they would have chopped my head off.
Mhm.
I
I'm gonna
could.
chop mine off too, but guess what? I don't care.
Right. I feel the same. I feel the same way, and it's like because when I interview, the younger crowds
Mm.
that come through, I always ask that question, like, man, like, why are y'all so angry? Why is every song, about, rob him, get the bag,
Mm.
sex him for the bag, it's about the money, it's this, that, and they be like, well, the guy's been doing it for years, so I mean, this our turn, we doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I'm like, at the end of the day, what else do you have to offer?
Right, right.
What's your story?
What's your story, right? And back in the day, you had, a variety of things. It's like all y'all doing the same stuff. It's like y'all take one person does it, and then everybody got to trail behind and do it. Like back then, you had Queen Latifah, you had Missy,
Exactly.
you
MC
had Lauren,
Light.
you had a variety. MC Light, you had so much mastery, you couldn't keep up,
Right.
and you were excited to see it all. You
Right.
know, I would say we just have to get back to that. Just like I said, genuine articles, people
Right.
who know who they are, because that's what the real problem is.
Hmm.
Nobody knows who the hell they are,
Right. Right.
and they don't care to learn. They don't care
Thank
to
you,
find
social media.
out.
Thank you, social media. The
Thank you,
new, the
social
new
media.
crack, the
Yeah,
new
you look at
crack
social
on the
media
block.
and be like, oh, that's what I gotta do. I gotta go to the DR, and I gotta go get this on my body, and I gotta go get me another wig, and I gotta go get some more nails. I gotta put on lashes this long, and then I'm popping, I'm on. Thank you, social media.
Thank you, social media. The
No
new,
individualism, no identity.
it's almost like we're afraid to
Mm.
be ourselves. It's almost like that is becoming extinct now. For you to be yourself is
That's it.
it's like you're being original. Like what?
That's it.
That's
That's it.
sad.
It is.
Cheated,
But
cheated
that's what I
though.
would change.
I gotta, listening to cheated. Like I say, it hit me a different type of way. Um, I felt a part of you on that. I understood the message. I felt like it came from an experienced place. Can we talk about the vision of creating that single?
Yeah.
Is it from an experienced place?
Yes. It happened.
Wow.
It's the reason I'm going through divorce. Yes. It
I'm
happened.
sorry to hear that.
Mhm. It's okay. I'm good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The whole entire sheep is from that place. And I just felt like, uh, the real grown woman, the real queen, the real powerful queen needs a voice, you know, needs a
Right.
voice. Sorry about that. Needs a voice that hasn't been the real voice of the strong Black woman.
Right.
Been through some stuff, still standing, um, healing,
Mm.
going through. Mary does it, but Mary, you know, Mary has her way of doing it. But I feel like there's a woman that isn't represented. Yeah, and that's my call. That's my calling to
Right.
represent that woman. So I don't care that I don't have a full audience or, you know, all of the fans or all of these accolades. I don't care. As long as I get my point across and do what I'm supposed to do and do my part, then, you know, job done.
Right. It's different for you now, right? You know,
Very.
you've done all that stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
very.
now it's about truth. It's about what you want to put out, the message you want to put out.
Yes. Yes.
You know what you want to share with us. I get that, and I get that ties back into what I was asking you earlier about the
Mhm.
place mentally that you've grown into, and that you're in the space you're in now. I feel like you're in a good space.
Mhm.
Um, you know, you're free. You know,
Yeah.
you're doing your own thing and doing it the way that you want to do.
Yes.
Opportunities are still coming. We got a new project you're getting ready to bless us with. Um, are you in a good place mentally right now?
I am. Grown womanism. That's it. I'm in a great place. I'm in a freeing place. I'm in a healing place. Yes.
Any
Hmm.
collabos that's going to be on this project we can look forward to?
We haven't decided. We're kind of last minute about that part, because all of the songs are so very
Personal.
my story, personal. Yes, personal. But if something makes sense, we're gonna do it. If it doesn't make sense, we're not gonna force it just to say, "Oh, I got to collab." You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's very personal. It's very personal.
Are we gonna get some visuals? I'm sure we're gonna get visuals
Yes.
with the project.
Yes.
We got a projected date, or we still kind of
We're trying to do by the end of the summer.
by the end of the summer,
Yes.
which will be great. Wow.
Yes.
Now, can I possibly, I'm putting in a request to get on the exclusive list,
Yes.
to get the because I would like to be one of the first stations to
Yeah.
have that in rotation. I'm gonna pump it like crazy.
Okay. No problem.
We
We'll do that.
building, we building here, truth. This is
Yes.
you know, I'm past the I'm on the list. Yeah, like I hit you in the DM. I was like, oh, but I seen some of you put in the story.
No, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you. Don't you
like,
worry. I'm way ahead of you.
list,
Don't
truth.
worry.
Can I get on the list?
Nah, you got it.
That was so dope. Shout out to big shout out to Jay Ross. That's my guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay
Making
Ross, the incredible.
that little moment happen for sure. Let's get some shout outs as we're wrapping up. Anybody you know you want to give flowers to, you have you know, your family, fans, people have been riding with you for years. Anybody you want to give some love to, let's go on and give them a shout out.
You said it, man. Shout out to the people that are still riding for me and still rooting for this next album to come out.
Right.
Still fanning after truth. I appreciate you. You will not be disappointed. Please continue to follow me, follow my work. It's coming. It's been like birthing a 20-pound baby, but it is coming. And I appreciate y'all's diligence and understanding and love that you have for truth, for real. Continue to follow me on Truth Hurts World, on Instagram, and Truth Hurts page on Facebook, and Truth Hurts World on Twitter. And yeah, I'm coming with y'all. I'm coming for y'all. And shout out to Major Moxie, my management company, Lori Lynn. And gosh, if I'm forgetting somebody, oh goodness, I'm definitely forgetting somebody because I'm the worst. Jay Ross, you are the best. You are everything. Thank you so much. Really.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah.
Y'all make sure to log on to Truth's official website at www.truthhurtsofficial.com. Also, y'all make sure that y'all go get that new single. It's out now, streaming on all music platforms right now. Y'all make sure y'all go and get that single, show some support and some love. But yes, I know you already seasoned. I was gonna ask you to put them social platforms and all that out there. You put all that out there.
Yes, and the sheepy is called Revelations.
Oh,
If you go to church and you scared, it's got S on the end. It's not the Bible revelation, it's revelations.
Right, right, right. Listen, for anybody that may be on a journey and going through some things, you know, and maybe at a dark place in life and be thinking about just giving up, you know, being that you've walked through those fires and still going through things and
Yes.
standing fast and being strong.
Yes.
Can you leave them with some words of uplift or encouragement for our listeners that's listening on the radio airwaves and listening online?
I definitely can. Man, first and foremost, whatever you're going through, if you are going through something right now, and it feels hopeless and you feel helpless, um, first and foremost, know that you aren't alone. You know, it's funny that you said that because I have suffered from depression. Going through divorce isn't easy, of course, um, and going through the ups and downs of business is never easy. And I'm telling you, when they say check on your strong friend, it'd be the strongest ones that really are going through depression. And this time, in this hour, anxiety, depression, gosh, bipolar, all of these things are at an all-time high. So, mental health is wealth. I tell everybody that I know. And the way you can constantly take care of your mental health is taking care of your body. I believe in veganism. I believe in not putting poison in your body so that, what comes out is greater than what you put in. So, when you asked me earlier about, why I look young or why I look vibrant, it's definitely water. It's definitely veganism. It's definitely what I put in my body. And I meditate and I pray. And, it all sounds very cliche, but it works. Pray, meditate, eat the right things, drink more water, just sit for 10 minutes and just be within yourself. No disturbance, no distraction. And I tell you, if you continue to do that and just tell yourself every day, it's day by day, it's day by day, it's day by day, it will get better eventually. If you're active in your meditation, if you're active in your eating habits, if you're active in taking care of yourself, it will get better. It'll get better.
Man, that's deep. Thank you so much for that. Truth, I gotta tell you from a personal place. I wanna thank you so much. I want to tell you that I love you and I'm so very proud of you and everything that you have been able to accomplish on your journey and all the things that you're still accomplishing right now, impacting women, standing fast on what you believe in, staying true to yourself. Truth hurts, just standing on that. I really want to thank you for being the woman that you are, and all the things that you've blessed us with over the years and still blessing us with. I want to thank you from me and the whole Vibe team and all of my listeners. We just want to just say thank you again, and we can't wait to get you back on this show again.
Yes, thank the Vibe team. Thank you all. You're so wonderful for having me. I'm so very honored. And yes, we have to do that live show once I'm settled. I'm moving north to Northern Cal, so I didn't know. I told Jay I don't know where I'll be.
Right.
So I'm in Southern Cal right now, but I'm moving to Northern Cal. So, once I get settled, I'll have my head right and I'll be able to do a lot more. And so we can get back together and do that show that you were talking about. But yeah, stay tuned, y'all, because there's also an exciting announcement coming up. I cannot release the information.
Oh,
Show, though. It is a TV show. And y'all are going to be excited about this. Y'all are going to be excited about this.
Congratulations on that. I'm not even worried about it. They the ones got to worry about it. I'm cool with them, my guy. I'm in the loop.
Y'all gonna love it, though. Y'all gonna love it. Really.
I already know it, man. Listen, it's the Vibe Show 97.9 with my special guest, my sister, the one and only Truth Hurts. Y'all make sure that y'all go and download that new single, Cheated, that's out right now, available on all music platforms right now. And y'all make sure y'all go and follow my sister on all social media platforms. Can we put that out there for the people that's sleeping right now?
Yes, Truth Hurts World on Instagram and Twitter, and Truth Hurts World 1 on TikTok, which I forgot earlier. But Truth Hurts page on Facebook, and truthhurtsofficial.com for the official website.
Absolutely. Y'all make sure y'all go and y'all tap in. And also, if you are not subscribed to Vibe Show 97.9, I don't know what's going on and what's wrong, but hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and share this amazing interview that will be released shortly tonight. I love all of you guys. Y'all know my slogan: peace, love, and blessings. Definitely makes the world a better place. Truth, I love you so much. It's the Vibe Show 97.9. We out of here.